Hello and welcome to Filmi Ladies. I am Beth and this is Pitu. And today we decided to talk about the relatively new release on Netflix, Toaster, starring Rajkummar Rao and other people, but mostly Rajkummar Rao. And I think it was my idea to talk about this, and I kind of regret it because I found this to be a real damp squib of a film, and I'm kind of angry about it, actually. So let's actually start with what Pitu thinks instead of what I think.
I felt like my toaster was malfunctioning and short
Yeah.
circuited and blew a fuse. And I was looking forward to eating a really delicious, like sourdough bread with like lots of nice cream on it, like butter on it and olive oil, maybe some avocado toast or something. And instead, I got carbon. So I'm not very pleased about it either.
I feel like I
However,
got
I
raw
applaud,
bread, like
yeah,
untoasted bread, just like,
yours was long. Mine was too much. But I applaud the decision to watch something new because we
yes.
have at this point become the retro ladies. So it's kind of nice to come back to the world of the living.
I'm not mad about that.
I know.
Retro ladies is fine with me. And after this, I'm like, well, fine then. If this is what you're going to make that's new, I'm going to watch old films only. And
Exactly.
I'm sad about it for several reasons. One of them being I really like Sanya Malhotra, which I believe I've been mentioning recently. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, here she is. I'm like, oh, they didn't give her anything to do.
And her last outing was really good. We both really liked her in Mrs.
Hmm.
So, like, her last outing was really nice. Whereas I have to say, like, I actually really do like Rajkumar Rao a lot, but he has been disappointing me with his movie choices for a while now. Like, Three, to like, fine, I enjoyed it in the moment, but that's more because I enjoy horror. And so, you give me a horror movie, I'm still going to enjoy it, but it's not memorable and stuff. And so, I went and looked at his filmography and I was like, okay, what happened to Rajkumar Rao? Because, like, I love him, but I feel like it's been a while since I've said anything nice about him. And I realized that the last Rajkumar Rao movie that I watched that I enjoyed was in 2022, which was Badhai. So it's been a while and I don't know what he's
Yeah.
doing. And at first, I was excited when you told me about Toaster because I was like, okay, first of all, I like Rajkumar Rao. I like Sanya Malhotra. I never read reviews because they're too spoilery. But I
Yeah.
was like, these two people, it's enough for me to go and
Mhm.
watch like a new movie. Um, and also, when I Googled it and I discovered that him and his wife have produced it, I was
Mhm.
like, that's great. Because
Interesting. Yeah.
anytime, yeah, because I feel like that's the smartest strategy for an actor in these days, where it's like, if like just make your own movie, like produce your own movie, because then you can give yourself like a really good role and a really good script instead of being beholden to like producers who may or may not come knocking at your door, right? But I was like, but this is like, you squandered this opportunity. So I was kind of like, well, what is the point then of like producing this film if your role isn't that great and the movie isn't that great? And I was just kind of like, you can do better. Like, maybe call Anushka Sharma and be like, yo, Anushka, give me some pointers. What should I do? Because I like her producer track record.
Yeah. This was
Do
so
you
good.
want to start by giving our people a spoiler free synopsis of this movie? Because the title really tells you nothing.
Yeah, I'll try. And I fully admit I was intrigued by the title, and I also really love toast. And I can imagine myself clutching a toaster oven. Uh, so
Like a beba.
I was kind of, I was like, this looks a little kooky. Um,
Yeah.
and there were all these things that this film was doing, I think, that felt by the numbers and didn't really feel very genuine to me. And that made me annoyed because in theory, I should have liked this.
Yes.
Anyway, so this is a bit of a what a innocent, although flawed person, Rajkumar Rao, gets entangled with non-innocent, flawed people who are in his apartment complex or connected to people in his apartment complex, and death happens a couple of times. That's the basic gist of it. His
Yes.
wife, Sanya Malhotra, is obsessed with true crime shows, or said to be true, but not exactly true crime show. So when she realizes stuff is kind of amiss, she kind of gets herself involved and he's trying to keep her out of it for various reasons, but stuff happens. Um, I can't believe I have not mentioned that this film features the great Archana Puran Singh, who took me a second to realize who she was, in a major role. And our friend from the Stree world, Abhishek Chaudhary, is there. So that's great. And then
Banerjee?
Banerjee, sorry. Yeah. Um, I don't know who Abhishek Chaudhary is. He's probably in a Bengali film that I've seen. I have no
Right.
Abhishek Banerjee is there with a much deeper speaking voice than I understood that he had. That was throwing me at first. I'm like, I think I know who that is, but he sounds so different than I'm
And a
used.
very interesting wardrobe, I have to say.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, so it's like, and there's kind of a crime world aspect to this, but not exactly. And there's a
Yeah.
corrupt politician and there's a corrupt police officer and some of these things. Honestly, to me, this felt like a cross between Vicky Vidya and their videotape, whatever
Yes.
that thing that we talked about that I very much did not care for. And then something like Monica Oh My Darling,
Yeah.
or something a little bit darker like that. Just something slightly more criminal. And that could have been a nice idea, but it did not work for me. This felt very by the numbers. Like we're gonna take some kind of quirky people and put them
Mm.
together with maybe a splash of darlings because of the apartment complex aspect, and then we're gonna just I don't know. And all of these people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is not an amateur cast, at least. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why Rajkummar Rao wanted to produce this movie. And if he did want to produce it, if he saw a script and thought, like, this has a nice bite to it, this is dark, this is interesting, that did not translate to me. There's not enough, like, oomph behind a lot of this. Um, it just felt like a whole bunch of firecrackers that had gotten rained on and just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed. I don't want to do too much more about the plot because I don't want to give away twists and turns in case people do want to watch it. You could watch this on a plane, right? Like it would be a time pass, but really not even a very good time pass, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I keep saying you should watch movies on planes, but that's because there are a lot of movies out there that are sort of like okay-ish, but not particularly amazing and not a thing you would choose if you had the whole world to choose from, which on a plane you don't. So if you
Right.
now have the Netflix plane and you can watch this or you've downloaded it or whatever, but I don't know. And also, I have to say this is incredibly shallow, but his hair in this movie is so weird. I was distracted by his hair the
Oh.
entire time.
I don't feel like I noticed his hair at all.
Okay, that's
Was
good.
it different from his usual hair?
Yeah, it's kind of longer and like down around
Oh.
his face a little bit more.
Okay.
At least to me it was. And this whole thing made me want to go try to watch Guns and Galobs, which I started one episode of and liked, but then never got into the whole series. Like I want to go watch something that I suspect he's a lot better in because he is so incredibly good. But this just was not it. And I think it's a script. I don't really think it was the performances, although his kind of manic slightly manic,
High strung.
high strung. His deal is he's a penny pincher. He's incredibly stingy, and all his bad behavior results from something about him trying to save money and basically get to return this toaster that he and his wife, or his wife basically, has purchased. That's the whole thing with the toaster. Um, I don't know. But there's also a thing I want to say about the script, and I apologize for rambling though, is that this movie basically, and maybe this is a spoiler alert, so jump out if you want to know. I think there's kind of like sexual assault that's treated as funny in this movie ongoingly, and the movie
Mm,
never acknowledges that I understood. Again, subtitles for Beth, but I
it's
was like, this is
funny.
funny. This is weird and wrong and criminal, and there's so much lying happening in this that does not get addressed in the kind of apologies at the end or the resolution at the end. And that made me really upset. Anyway, I've talked forever. Please, you talk about what you didn't like about it.
So the I found the premise of this movie very interesting, right? Like, first of all, I don't feel like we see heroes being conjuice. If anything, like being miserly. If anything, we're so used to seeing heroes as being like having swagger. Not that
Yeah.
Rajkumar Rao has ever been known for swagger, right? Like he's kind of in the Ayushman Khurrana category of actors where they always play this like nabbish, like
Mm.
underconfident, insecure guy who knows he doesn't have the looks and he has to maybe use his wit and stuff like that to get the girl, right? Like there's a specific lane that they operate in. But still, we're used to actors just being at least a little bit more, this isn't the right word, but I was thinking like flamboyant or being a little bit more interesting, or just being like generous in some ways, or being like a little bit flashy in some ways, right? And it's interesting to me to see a character who is so miserly, because I feel like in Hindi movies the only time we see someone being miserly is usually like the rich dad, like Anupam Kher, or someone like that who's just like this penny pincher, but it's really funny. Like he's like a Scrooge McDuck, sort of person. Or who is that person? Ebenezer from Christmas Carol, right? It's oh, you're on mute, by the way. Because I saw your lips moving and I was
Oh,
like,
sorry. I was
does Beth know
affirming that
she's
that
on
is
mute?
Scrooge. Yes.
Right. So they have that sort of like thing. So it's interesting to me to see a hero who is so cheap. And I
Yeah.
found that funny, that the first thing he does when he comes home from his jog, like imagine when you've come home from a jog or power walk or whatever it is, you're so overheated and you want the fan on, and the first thing he does when he comes into his apartment is switch the fan on and off, and tell Sanya Malhotra like he's
Right.
like she's wasting electricity. And he's obsessed with like the 6 rupees he needs to get refunded from the whoever that he's like yelling at on the phone. And so I just found that like kind of funny and a little bit different, and it gave his character a little bit of an interesting color, maybe.
Yeah.
um and then also the fact that he owns this like little perfume shop, but he's
Yeah.
basically very dishonest, because he sells he sells fancy perfumes. No, he sells fake perfumes as fancy
Yeah.
perfumes, but he gets the money that the fancy perfumes. So he's basically saying fake perfumes, and he's
Yeah,
like
he's a
pocketing that.
counterfeiter.
He's a counterfeiter, yes.
Mhm.
So there were a lot of things about him that were interesting, especially because he's so like cowardly. And I just found this whole idea of him wanting to go to this wedding, and when he hears that the wedding has gotten called off and the bride was stood up at the altar, him wanting his toaster back, I just found that so hilarious. But also because of the industry I work in, I hear a lot of gossip and a lot of tea about weddings that get called off, but
Oh
you buy
yeah.
gifts for people on the registry way before, so
Yeah.
people are buying like $200 presents and $300 presents and booking flights to international destinations, and then the wedding gets called off and not a single guest ever gets refunded for everything, and that results in like drama. And of
Hmm.
course I'm here for all the drama. I'm always the person that when a coworker or someone says, oh, can I tell you something that happened to me? I'm in such a bad mood. I'm like, girl, I am ready. You have my full undivided attention
You
for five
may.
minutes.
Please
You
do.
may. Yes. And I will absolutely validate you. And I will keep like encouraging you to bitch about these people. So I found that really funny too. Like it was so tacky and hilarious when he shows up at those people's house and he's basically trying to like figure out how he can get the toaster back so he can return it to a shop. So I just found a lot of that funny, and I liked the idea of his wife who is essentially unemployed and wanting to get pregnant and just spending all her day doing what in her apartment, just watching like true crime shows. All of that I thought was funny. So I don't know where this movie went wrong. I think where this movie went wrong is that they basically pakaured like a khichdi. Like instead of toast, they made khichdi, and they put too many ingredients in it, and they
Mm.
were like, let's put this subplot, let's put that subplot, let's that happen. I know that there's a lot of people that really like Kunal Khemu's directorial movie Madgaon Express. I thought it was very lame and completely unfunny, except for a few scenes. And this reminded me a little bit of that. But
Mm.
it's not even as, but it didn't even have the funny moments that Madgaon Express did. But like my issue with Madgaon Express was there was just too much in it. There were too many running gags, there were too many subplots happening, and nothing was really making me chuckle out loud. And I feel like the same thing happened here. It's like these characters would keep popping up and these subplots would keep happening. And I was like, what is going on? It just felt from one thing to the other instead of one proper like narrative thread. So I think the script was really poor, and I feel like the editing was really bad. I feel a lot needed to be cut out of it. And I feel bad for Sanya Malhotra, who is a very talented performer and has a nothing role. Like she has nothing to do. Why cast
I
her?
kept
Just
waiting
cast a
for it to
nobody.
be something, and then it just wasn't anything. And yeah, I felt so bad for her. And
Yeah.
also as an actress, but also as a as a fictional person, I was like, and again, spoiler, by the end of this, like she seems to have forgiven him for all the nonsense. Um, why?
Yeah.
Why? This all results from his bad choices. Uh, and are we supposed to read him as having like an untreated, obsessive sort of situation about money? Maybe. In which case,
For
like, I can
sure.
kind of feel sympathetic for him, but like the movie is not interested in his mental health, I don't think. And
No,
this,
he's not normal, for sure.
right. And she, because his penny pinching really does go to extreme measures, like stopping to visit an elderly neighbor. So because she will make him a piece of toast for breakfast instead of eating the food that
Yeah.
he and his wife have purchased. And if he didn't do that, none of this would have happened. But um,
Or when
and
he goes to weddings and he brings like extra plates of food and he
right,
has like these Ziploc bags that he puts them in.
yeah,
I was like, oh my God.
yeah,
In fact, at the
he
end of
does.
the movie, when they're celebrating their like anniversary or whatever, there's a scene where they're in a Gurdwara. And I was like, okay, this makes no sense. This is a Gujarati character. His last name is Parekh. Why is he in a Gurdwara? Like, is this more Punjabification where we have to like be force fed Punjabi culture at every microsecond? But then it made sense because then they were eating the langar food for free. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, this is terrible.
and she's
But
very eye
yeah,
roll about it. And like, does she know her husband sells counterfeit?
I assume so.
Yeah, I don't know. What does and does she doesn't seem to work outside the home as far as I can
Mm-mm.
tell, which is like, well, that would be one way to help have more money in the household. So like
But he would probably penny pinch that as well.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure
Yeah.
he would, but she
Also,
didn't.
they want to have a kid. And I was like, do you know how expensive kids are, Ramakant? I don't know if you do,
Yeah.
because if he knew how expensive
But
kids
like
were,
if
he
she had
probably
her
wouldn't
own
want them
paycheck, she
either.
could squirrel part of it away for herself,
This is
right?
true.
And like tell him it's less than it, like tell him it's like 70% of what it really is, and she keeps
Yeah.
the for whatever sanity
Yeah.
reason. But this just this was all just such a misfire. It was really frustrating.
I don't know what happened. Like, what happened in their storytelling sessions or storyboarding sessions or whatever that this, because if you look at the cast, there's so many of these Madak people are in there.
Mhm.
There's Abhishek Banerjee, as you said. There's Archana Puran Singh. There's Upendra Limay. There's Farah Khan. And I was just like,
And
what
all
is
these
going
people are
on?
good. These people are all
Yeah,
good. Yeah, why is Farah Khan there? I wondered, and I didn't dig into it to see why she might be there, who she's friends with, involved with this or whatever. Because when I
I was
think
very
Rajkummar
surprised to
Rao, I
see her.
don't think Farah Khan, but like, sure, cool, why not? Like, I do appreciate that Rajkummar Rao, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, he pops up in a lot of things that we like, and Badaido, for example, is one of the best, and he's
Yes.
so good in that. He's so good in that. Um, but I do appreciate that he seems to try lots of different things, and we may associate him with a certain type of thing, but he does actually do quite a bunch of
Mhm.
different stuff. And I really like that about him. Now, some of it's so bad that I've turned it off without finishing it, like Shimla Merch. That was so
I
terrible.
haven't seen it.
I just turned it off.
Mm.
I think that was a thing he made earlier, much earlier than it released, kind of thing, and whatever. Um, but what is this, man? Like, you've been in the industry for well over 10 years at this point. Like, I just really am confused that his sensibilities, whatever they may be, led him to this. I did not read any interviews or anything like that, so I don't know what he has had to say about this. But like, and an
I
example of this, I feel like, is if you watch, I don't remember the name of the song, but there's a song under the end credits that is
mm,
tacked on like everything else, like
I forwarded.
Vicky Vidya had one of those too,
Yeah.
didn't it? You know who can't pull off like hip hop sexy? Rajkumar Rao. He can't do it. And Sanya Malhotra, who is quite a dancer, also was not convincing in that. And so you're like, and how does this fit with? I know we kind of apply different expectations to those songs at this point. It's like it's
Yeah.
not those characters, but it's those actors, and it sort of has to do with the film, but not really. It's like your prize for having. I don't know what those are, and like if they
It's like
are,
maybe for promos so that people
no,
watch it on
probably,
like
yeah,
TV channels and they're like, oh, I'll
yeah.
go watch this movie.
Yeah. And that song has nothing to do with this movie. And the performing that was happening in the song also had nothing to do with the characters in the movie. But like
Hmm.
watching him try to sell this, it was embarrassing to me. I
Yeah.
felt bad for him doing that because I'm like, and again, this is your film. And why are you making yourself do this? You just can't.
Yeah.
And obviously there's quite a bit of acting in dancing. And that was he was not able to do it. She's better, but she also doesn't seem like her forte either.
Yeah.
I just there was so much in this that just didn't deliver and didn't cohere. And I don't even really have any suggestions of how to make it better. I do think it should have been shorter. I was checking my watch a lot during
Oh yeah.
this, but it wasn't specifically because I felt it was long. It was more because I was bored.
Yeah.
So, do you
I
have
mean,
any suggestions on what they should have done differently?
well, I really think he needs to go back to his drama roots because he is so good when he does drama. I mean, I still think of him from Love, Sex or Dhoka. I still think of him
Right.
from Newton. I even think of him in that tiny role he had in Queen, which, let's face it, is a
Right.
Kangna Ranaut movie from start to finish.
Yes.
That is a movie where nobody except Kangna exists, right? Like, she is the queen of that movie. And Rajkumar Rao has such a tiny little role in it. It's such a small performance, but he's so slimy, and I want to slap him so hard. Like, I hate him so much in that role, but it's so memorable. So, I mean, you can have a teeny tiny role in a movie like Queen that is completely taken over by the heroine, and you can still be memorable. But some of the stuff I've seen him do in recent times, whether it's 3-2 or whether it's Vicky Vidya Kabowala video or this one, think of how long his screen time is in these movies, and there's nothing memorable about it. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to think, like, maybe let's take a break from comedy because I'm tired of seeing you do comedy, and maybe
Mm.
go back to your drama roots. Maybe go back to doing something that's hard hitting. Maybe play someone villainous. Like, I loved Vijay Varma being a villain in Darlings. I loved Vijay Varma being a villain, like being a serial killer in The Hard. And I feel like Rajkumar Rao can be such an unhinged villain. I think he can be such a Machiavellian, crafty, shrewd person who fools people with his innocent face. Like, I want to see him do something different because I'm very tired of the bumbling, silly, comic person who we're supposed to laugh at, not laugh with. And I'm just like a little
Yeah.
bored of that. And I know he is never going to be a hero. Like, he's not a Ranbir Kapoor, he's not a Ranveer Singh, he's not a Shahid Kapoor. I get it. But there's a lot of other stuff he could do. And especially when you're a producer, like, when you said you were feeling bad for him, I was like, I don't feel bad for him. You were the producer of this movie. You greenlit this movie. You agreed to star in this movie. You and your wife together are responsible for this. So I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography, and there's quite a bit of this I haven't seen, but
Mm,
yeah, Newton, Trapped. I never saw Trapped, but like that looks really, really interesting. Aligar, I still haven't seen Aligar, and I know I
mm.
should. Um, he was in, I've forgotten he was in Ek Ladki with Sonam Kapoor, but like that's
He
a real cool
was?
movie. Yeah, he's in that. He plays one
I
of the
don't
theater
remember.
people that she's kind of like, yeah. So I had to look at
Okay.
the, I was like looking at the plot description. But yeah, obviously his career is all over the place. And of course Kai Poche, which I know everyone loves. We've
I
talked about
liked him in
briefly.
Kaipoche.
I have not been able to get through that film, but I trust that he's good. He's good in his little moment in Talash. He's good in, I'm
Mm,
sure he's good in Gangs of Wasseypur. I don't really remember him in that, I have to admit. But like, yeah, so what an interesting career. But this is not. I can understand why he might be drawn to something that on the surface is kind of a black comedy
mm,
ish or like a gray comedy at least,
yeah.
but like this doesn't isn't as dark as Monica Oh My Darling or something like Haseen Dilruba, which he's not
Mm.
in, but I can imagine him in something like that, right? Nor is it as comedy as what's the one where he is with Ayushmann and Kriti
I know
Sanon?
which one you mean. Bareli ki Barfi?
Thank you. There it is. I was like, it has a B in it. It has a town in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was good in that.
He is good in that. So like this is kind of like taking a little bit of that and a little bit of Monica and like shove, 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 but it's just I don't know. This is very so disappointing. I know I keep saying that, but I don't
I know.
in a way I don't really have a ton more to say about this. I watched it like 3 days ago and I'm already like, "Ugh."
I watched it this morning and I've already forgotten a lot because it was so forgettable. I will say that my surprise package of this movie was I actually really enjoyed Farah Khan because I don't know what it is about her. She makes me laugh. Every
Oh
time I've
yeah.
seen her in interviews, she's so funny. She's so mean, but she's so funny.
Yes.
And every time I've seen her on like YouTube or whatever, she just cracks me up. Like, I don't think she's a particularly nice person, but she's hilarious. And there's like a mean streak in her that makes me laugh because I'm not the butt of it.
Sure.
But she was good in this, and she played this like very shady like orphanage
Yeah.
manager person, whatever. She
let's
made me laugh.
let's also do so again, spoilers. Let's talk about Abhishek Banerjee and Puran Singh a little bit. What did you think of both of them as
Abhishek Banerjee was funny because I've never seen him like this. He's always that like cowardly,
no.
scared little person
Yeah.
who is like Varun Dhawan's sidekick in Bhedia or whatever, right? So, or in Three, like he's always like scared. And
Mhm.
in this one, he was just this like druggy person and he was wearing these like singlets and just doesn't do anything. And it was kind of funny to see Seema Pawa just like yelling at him all day. Like I thought that was hilarious. I
Yeah.
love watching movies where men just get yelled at for no reason. Um, but I thought he was funny in that, and his character was so like low energy. It made me laugh. Like even when he was trying to blackmail someone, he did it with such low energy. I was like, do you think like could you have some coffee and like have some adrenaline or something? But he was funny. But of course he it's a very small role. And
Yeah.
then Archana Puran Singh, at first I was really shocked when I saw her because the way that they have like aged her and they made her this complete auntie. And I was like, does she have a role to play in this movie or is she just this person that walks in and out, kind of like Farah Khan does? Like Farah Khan doesn't really matter to the
Mm.
scheme of things. And I wondered if Archana was somewhat similar. And then don't want to give away spoilers, but we discover that she is not what she seems. And that is always delightful when Ms. Braganza is concerned. Yes, as a person who has watched Kuch Kuch Hota Hai many times, anytime Archana Puran Singh comes on my screen, I have to say, Miss Braganza, aha.
Aha. You have
Like,
to.
you have to. Like, you can't not do that. Like, that would be wrong.
Mhm.
So I was like, Miss Braganza, aha. And then she does these like shenanigans in this movie, which at first it made me laugh. And then I was like, this is not really funny. This is very shady. And I'm feeling very uncomfortable and I don't know what's going on. And I was just kind of like, and then it became icky very quickly.
I mean, she's a rapist,
She is.
and the film does not. And
He
part
seems to think it's funny too. And I was just like, this is really
and the
gross.
film
Like,
is like, she's a rapist. It's kind of funny, but what's gross is that it's an older woman who wants to
yeah.
have sex with a younger man. And I actually looked up their age difference, and it's like 22 years or something. So it's
Mm.
like not more than Shahrukh and Salman and everybody, right? But
Yeah.
like she's played for comedy and is gross, but she's gross because she's a rapist, not because she's an older woman.
Yeah.
So like, and he,
She's actually very like sociopathic, her character,
yes,
because she sees a person who she can easily exploit
she can
and she can
blackmail
sort
him.
of
Yeah.
blackmail him and kind of let him into kind of her den of iniquity.
Mhm.
This is a phrase I love saying, den of
It is
iniquity.
a good phrase. Mhm.
Unfortunately, my life is very boring and I work a lot, and so I don't get to say it. So when I do, I like to say it, den of
I think you should
iniquity.
greet brides into your shop as into the den of iniquity.
Hello, welcome to the den of iniquity.
All the gowns are red.
Let me use this poison pen to write things for you. Yeah, so it was like really gross. And then there was a reference to like where he says, well, we didn't even do anything. You can't get pregnant from a massage. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, because then
Uh,
there's also the sort of implication that she's delusional and like is
yeah.
imagining things that have happened. But then I was like, I don't think that I couldn't
How
decide
old is she
anywhere.
supposed to be?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know.
Did she what I don't know because this whole
And
pregnancy thing like continues for a long time. So I'm like, well, then they must have had sex, but like what?
yeah. But then doesn't he also say like when he's frustrated, he says to her, "Well, I've been coming home really late at night at like 3 a.m." And I was like, "And your wife didn't notice? What? You live in like a tiny little apartment.
I
Like
don't
she's gonna
know.
know if you're out of the house until 3 a.m." It was very strange. I just feel like this was a very half-baked movie. And when I was thinking about what was going on with in the Den of Iniquity, I was thinking of our Govinda and David Dhawan episode where I remember I had said to you, Hasina Manchag is funny, you should consider watching it. And then you watched it and you were like, this movie starts with Shakti Kapoor like doing a casting couch thing and it's played for laughs. And I was like, what? Because I'd completely forgotten. And I was like, oh shit. And this is kind of more of the same, where
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like, it's gross, whether it's men doing it to women or women doing it to men or anyone doing it to anyone. Like, it's not really funny. So I don't know. It also makes me kind of like judge Rajkumar Rao because again, you're the producer, your wife is also the producer. You can't hide behind the I did what the director told me
Nope.
to do. You can't hide behind that.
Mm,
So I'm just kind of like, I don't understand.
no. Yeah, it
I,
wasn't dangerous enough. It wasn't funny enough. It wasn't black enough, but it was also not, but it was also gross, but not in a way that did anything, but also, and murders are just happening and like no bigs.
Yeah, like people just fall off balconies. That was weird. I did like the way that the movie started though, like that scene of him like digging the grave.
Yes.
Because in like basically this movie's in flashback,
Yeah.
and basically when he's digging the grave and she's just like standing there, and he's like, I don't know, do you put the body like face down or face up? I have no idea. And then he says, "Hamare mein jalate hain." Like in my community, they burn people. I just thought that was
That
funny.
was funny.
Yeah, I
And
enjoyed
that
the
made me think
gallows
we were in
humor.
for something a lot darker. That's a very dark
Yes.
line, and it's very
I
funny.
just thought that was hilarious. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, all right, I like this. I like the where this is going. And I thought we were going to be getting something like Darlings, which
Mhm.
is still something I think about because I enjoy it so much.
Mhm.
And it just wasn't. So I don't know. I think his career has perhaps stalled much in the way that Ayushmann Khurrana's has. And I feel like both of them, I don't know what Ayushmann Khurrana is doing these days, but I feel like both of
Vampire.
them need to like, huh?
He's a vampire.
Oh
Vampire.
yeah, we saw Thamma recently. See, I've forgotten that one too. What the hell? I was like, he's a vampire. When? Where? Oh yeah, Thamma.
That movie
Um,
I saw.
I just feel like they need to do different things because, like,
Yeah.
the last time that I was really impressed with Ayushmann was when he did Andhadan. I thought he was so good in that, and of course, Tabu never hurts. I mean, it's always a joy to see Tabu on screen. Um, so I don't know. I feel like these men need to figure something out because they've been in the industry long enough. And I know I keep like lumping Ashman into this category,
Yeah.
but because to me they have a lot of similar sort of
Yeah.
strengths and profiles in a way. And I don't know what's going on with them, but
Yeah.
I think they need to do something better. I just really want him to take a break from comedy. Honestly, I think he needs to
Mhm.
go back to his drama roots. I don't know, call up and Kashyap, be like, yo, do you got something for me? Let's work on
That would be a
something.
good, yeah, I'd like
It
to see
would be so
that
good.
more.
Go do something really like bloody and violent and terrible and horrible, but like do something interesting.
Or if
Or
possible,
Vishal Bharadwaj.
yeah, get something arty.
Yes. Because this is not working for
This
me.
is not it.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wah, wah.
And Sanya Malhotra needs to also do better stuff. I did like her very, very much in Mrs. I wonder, do you think like all of these people, is it possible that all of these people did this like half-baked stupid movie because of their friendship with Rajkumar Rao and he basically just pulled the friendship card and got these people on board? Because this
Sure.
cast is pretty cool.
Yeah, sure, it's possible.
Mm.
I'm looking to see what she was in. Okay, so she was in Sunny Sanskari, which I did watch, and
I didn't watch
I
it.
think
Did you like it?
it's okay. It's got Janvi, so it's not for you.
Mm.
But she and Varun play a couple that then splits up, and I just kept wanting him to get back together with.
And I love Arun, so
Yeah. She was in Baby John, which I didn't watch, but I would. She's in, yeah, Mrs. was the first or the last big thing of hers I saw, I guess. She's in Jawan, of course, where not
hmm.
for long, but you know.
Yeah.
You saw Katal, a jackfruit mystery, I think you
I
said,
didn't see
right?
it.
Oh, you didn't.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I would
I
watch her.
wanted to though, because it sounded interesting.
She's in Love Hostel. You saw that, didn't you?
I did see that. And that was Bobby Deol I really liked in it. And it
And
was an interesting concept.
she's in Pugmate, which I liked. She's in Ludo, which I really liked when I saw it. I could not tell you a single thing about it. I remember Rajkumar Rao's in it. I remember Pankaj Tripathi is in it.
I don't remember Ludo
That's,
either.
I believe Abhishek Bachchan is in it for a brief bit.
Yes.
Um, you know, she's in Shakuntala Devi. She's good in that. But like,
Wait,
but
she was in
I
Shakuntala Devi? The
you didn't
Vidya
see
Balan
that, did
movie?
you? That's the
No,
Vidya
I saw
Vidya
no,
Balan.
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
saw it.
Tarla. I
Right.
saw the one that's on Tarla Dalal. Okay.
Yeah.
I was
So,
getting my biopics confused.
you know, there's stuff, man, and then Dango, and then that's she only goes back as far as
Mm.
Dango, which is amazing. But yeah, more and better for Sanya Malhotra. I say this could have been anyone. They there's this thing in her kind of one trait other than she watches murder shows is that she's studied judo.
Judo.
But then you wait for it to happen. The action sequences in this are crap.
Yeah.
I thought, and I'm not a judge of action sequences, so maybe don't listen to me, but I was, because they just cut away before you can see anything, because I don't think any of these people can do any of this. Like, it would
Yeah.
have been funny perhaps to watch her fight Archana Puran Singh. And
Hmm.
they set it up like you're going to get to see that, but then you don't really get to see it.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Um, and
Especially,
even
it would have been funny if she's the one who's defending him,
right,
given that he's the one who's put them in the soup in the first
right,
place.
which
And
has
she
kind
can
of,
be like,
which is a throwback to Stree in a way, right? Where he
yes.
like the Stree takes care of more of it, but and then eventually he has to, but and like both they've implied that Archana Puran Singh's character is very delusional. So like her fancying herself a fighter could be really funny. And I've
Hmm.
studied judo for a bit. That could also make a person more confident than is actually relevant,
Right.
So I think that more fun could have been had with that. But by that point, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
We know that, the main characters are not going to get killed. This movie is not that dark.
Yeah.
It's just not. That would have been an interesting twist, actually, if they had made this like
Hmm.
actually bump off one of the hero or the heroine. They didn't,
Right.
but
Yeah. Basically a missed opportunity.
really is. And
Yeah.
also, just I had just been saying to someone, like, oh, I haven't seen a single Hindi film from 2026. And now I guess I've seen one. That's too bad.
I mean, it's what month are we in? We're in April, so yeah.
And maybe there's been some good stuff that I've missed. Have not watched Mardani 3 yet. I do intend to watch
I
Mardani.
didn't even know there was a Mardani 3.
Yeah. I've still not
Oh.
watched two either, but I love one, so I need to watch two and three. And I've heard from various people that three is actually really good, so I should watch.
Oh.
But it's rare that I sit down and think I want to watch a really gritty police thing.
Mm.
So, but I should
I'm
watch it.
still really excited about Ma Behan only because
Yeah,
A, I like the title.
yeah.
B, I like the idea of Madhuri playing something negative, and I like the idea of Madhuri and Tripti as like mother and daughter. And so I have my hopes up for that. And I hope that one's gonna be good because this one was not good. Yeah.
But I'm also fine to be retro ladies, retro filmy ladies.
I
That's fine
know.
with me.
Honestly, I am like I was reading the comments on our Bidu episode and like chatting with people, and there's so many subscribers that we have never heard comments from that have like come out of the woodwork because of Bindu, because that is the power of Bindu. And there was this one
Oh.
subscriber who was telling me to watch two movies of hers. One is called Dastan.
Hmm.
She's paired with Dilip Kumar in it, and I was like,
What?
I know. That was my
Weird.
exact. This subscriber had written, she plays Dilip Kumar's wife in Dastan. And I was like, excuse me, what? What is the sentence? Like, I can't even think of Dilip Kumar being married to like Bindu. How did that happen? So, for that reason alone, I want to see this movie. And then here's the best bit: this subscriber knows the ways to my heart because they immediately told me that I would love the costume choices in Dastan and I'm going to love Bindu's wardrobe. And I was like,
Well,
yes, I need to see
we
this.
can do another Bindu centric episode. She did.
I know, right? And then they also told me to watch this movie called Prem Shastra because she plays the mother of, here you go, Zeenat Aman.
That makes me happy. Let's do it.
I know. And I was like, I love Zeenat Aman. I want to see Bindu be the mother of Zeenat Aman. Is she a conniving mom? She couldn't possibly be a good mom because, we expect Bindu to be bad. So I was like, I'm trying to be a person in the present times and I'm trying to be a resident of 2026, but my heart just belongs to the retro people. And
Bindu
that's what
is
I'm excited
Bindu
about.
is only 10 years older than Zeenat Aman, but okay. Okay. At least she is actually older, unlike sometimes how we
Maybe she's a stepmom though,
okay, that'd be
because
fine.
this person didn't specify.
Oh yeah, because she's not that much. She's similarly aged to Neetu Singh, who we saw her with in our episode. So
Yes, where she bumped off the father her husband very unceremoniously. So I immediately got excited when I read that, and I was like literally reading the comments and like responding to this person, and then googling images of Bindu and Dastan while I was watching this movie. And I was like, "How long are you going to be? Oh, 45 more minutes. Okay, let me look up these pictures." At
um,
this point, our fate is sealed. We are the retro ladies. We can't
okay.
help it. Speaking of retro ladies, these last 2 weeks have been so sad. We have lost two great women of Hindi cinema. We have lost Asha Bhosle at the age of 92 after 8 decades of singing. And I'm so sad. All of these cabaret numbers that I love, they are all hers. And I love her. And I'm so grateful that I got to see her in concert in Atlanta,
Oh,
Georgia,
nice.
when I was doing my master's. And I'm so glad that one of my friends had dragged me to go see it. And she was adorable. And it was like one of the best concert experiences of my life. She was so cute. And I've always loved her. And I still remember it was such a memorable concert experience because I remember at one point, the audience was very rowdy, and she started the concert right on time. And she was saying, this was ages ago. This was like 2 decades ago, I think. And at one point, the audience got really rowdy, and people kept yelling "Pia tu ab to aja," right? Because they really wanted her to sing that. And it had been like she had sung quite a few songs at that point, and she still hadn't sung "Pia tu ab to aja." And so people were like "Pia tu ab to aja," and she like got mock mad at everyone. But you couldn't tell she was mock mad. She pretended to be mad. So she was like, so she got upset, and she was like, what is this Pia to Abtaja? What is this Pia to Abtaja? I'm going to sing whatever songs I have in my playlist, okay? It's only been 10 songs that I've done. I'll get to it. You don't need to yell. Everyone was like, oh no. Everyone was like quiet. I was sitting with my friend Beba, and I grabbed his sleeve and I was like, oh no, she's mad at us. I didn't even say anything. And Beba was like, shh. And, everyone was like quiet. And then she sang like a few bars of a completely different song. And then suddenly she looked at her orchestra and did a thing. And then it went to ding, 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 ding. And then the whole crowd just went wild. People were so happy. So, like, that is like one of my fondest memories because she was
Mm,
so silly and cute and playful and also like
mhm,
admonishing us, but being
mhm.
absolutely darling. So I was very sad to hear that she passed, but she had a long,
So
great
she did.
life and a great career.
She did.
And she will always be missed. And then Bhanu Athaiya also passed away.
Yeah.
So she was also 92 years old, and
Wow.
apparently she had been bedridden for a few years because she was
Oh.
suffering from like a brain tumor. So like her last few years were not that great,
Mm.
but also all of these amazing, great costumes. Like so many times when we're talking about those great costumes that we see in the 70s, we're talking about Bhanu
Yeah.
Thaya. So I was like, these two women, one in the field of playback singing, one in the field of costume design, and we lost them. And it's like, it's just so sad.
Mm.
But yeah, they were in their 90s, and I'm worried about whom the Grim Reaper is going to come for next. But great legacies,
Yeah.
and yeah, very sad.
If people have not heard our episode about saris in films, we do talk about Banu Attaya quite a bit. And that was in our first year. It's going to be way back in the
It was like
catalog. But
episode 11
it
or
is way
something.
back. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll put a link to it in the
yeah.
description of this on YouTube if you didn't catch that or would like to revisit some vintage saris.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that concludes this episode. But before we sign off, I wanted to ask you real quick, what is your favorite way to eat toast?
Oh, I do love toast a lot. I am often just with a little bit of butter kind of
Mm.
person. Jam also nice. And obviously toast can be a base for so many delicious things. I am not mad about a piece of bruschetta, but
Oh,
I will
yes.
often just eat the toast by itself.
When I was a child, I had this friend. Well, he wasn't really my friend. He lived in my building. He was very annoying, but we played together. And one time, I broke his nose because he was very annoying. But anyway, we were 7. It's fine. But he was so jungly. Like he was such a jungly child. And he would come to my house and he would open my fridge. Who does that? 7-year-old kid. He would come to my apartment. He would open the fridge, and he would find like the thingy of sliced bread, and he would just take that out, and he would open the thingy, and he would eat like dry bread, like sukka bread, just like that, like tom 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 tom. And I was like, who is this monster? And then of course my mother would force me to be like nice to him, which was a
Yeah.
torture. But every time I think of Nitin, he's now like a PhD and a scientist and does like important things in laboratories. But I still think of him as that annoying 7-year-old child who ate like plain cold bread from my fridge. And I still judge him for that, Beth, because I am a grudge holder. And I still think, does he still eat bread like that, or does he have the civility to put it in a toaster?
Maybe it's like
Anyway,
an issue of patience too.
Maybe. Do you think he's still in a laboratory somewhere wearing a lab coat and like doing experiments and eating like bread, like chomp, 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 chomp? Oh, I hope not. Imagine if I ever bump into him. I've not seen this person for like decades, but imagine if I ever bump into him and me being me, the first thing I'm like, how do you eat your bread these days, man? But I like bread with like Kerrygold butter. That's my favorite butter.
Messy butter.
I like it with that. And I really like it with like orange marmalade.
Oh yeah, orange marmalade is
That's
so
so
good.
good. Like, especially if you can like taste the rind in it. I
Uh-huh.
like the ones that have like a lot of chunky
And the bitter, I
rinds.
love that.
Yeah.
Bitter
And then
one.
I love a good avocado toast. And I feel like avocado toast is such a conversation thing. Do you remember, like, for years, they would be
Yeah.
like, millennials could buy a house if they stopped eating avocado toast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love avocado toast as well. Yeah, definitely a fan of toast, not really a fan of this movie Toaster, but that's that. What are you hoping to see from Rajkumar in the future? Do you have any ideas? Do you want to see him in drama like I do, or
Yeah, drama would be good. And I do think that we both should we should try Guns and Gulabs because I think that's going to be quite dark,
okay?
dramatic. And I mean, the one episode that I saw was pretty dark, so that was good. Um, if comedy, then maybe a smarter comedy than this at least appeared to be to you and me. So I think, there are things in Queen that are very funny, and he is very funny in Queen, but he's also such a rat bastard.
Yeah, he is.
With that, but yeah, I'd love to see him as a villain. I don't know. I don't like I can see him as kind of a crime boss type, like
Yeah.
heavy, but as the schemer, right? Like someone who's second in command or runs the finances for someone like Rais, like
Mm,
that kind of guy. I think seeing him as a like business crime lord. I'm not into shows about like business dealings or
mm-mm.
shows or films, but he would be a good like sleazy Wall Street kind of guy, like inside trader kind of guy. He's pretty gross in Love, Sex or Doka, right? So like right
Yeah.
out of the gate, he was doing some of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would like to see him as darker, I
He
think.
was smarmy in Bareli Ki Barfi as well, I remember. So I think he
Mm-hmm.
can do that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
stuff really well as well, where he's
And
not quite the
maybe
straight
maybe
man.
he just needs to have a foil where he's the bad guy or the worst guy anyway.
Hmm.
He needs to play, yeah, with with it would be interesting to see him as like second hero in
Mm.
something where he doesn't have to carry that or sort of make a version of that. But I'm sure
I
there's so much he can do. He wasn't doing it here.
Yeah. I think he could be a good cop too, because I
Yeah.
feel like with Rajkumar Rao, I always get this vibe, not so much from Ayushmann Khurrana, but I get this vibe from Rajkumar Rao where I feel like he can do I am better than you,
Oh yeah,
better
for
than a lot
sure.
of people,
For
right?
sure.
Like he has that slight, like
Yeah.
holier than thou chip
Yeah.
on his shoulder,
Yeah.
where I can totally see him playing a cop where he's like, I am so much better than you. And he can be like a little bit like, looking down on people and talking down to them. And it's kind of like, yeah, I get your point, but it's also like annoying.
So do you remember
I
the
think he
cop
could do that well.
in Lapata Ladies?
Yes.
I feel like he could be a cop like that, right? And that's a small town cop, but still
Yeah.
like, you're not going to push this
Like
guy around
Ravi
when
Kishan.
you think you're going to buy him off. No, you're not.
Right.
I was very glad Ravi Kishan was in that. I really loved him
He
in
was
that.
so
I
good.
can see Rajkumar Rao playing a role kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he could also potentially do like a good romantic movie, not like a big budget
Mm-hmm.
A-list super
Mm-hmm.
glam movie. Like I'm not talking Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani sort of big budget, but like I think he could do a good romantic movie because every time he's done romance, like when he was in Badhai Do, or when I mean, even though that's it's a lavender marriage, but
Yeah.
still, but with his partner, and then
Uh-huh.
when he's in Stree, some of his scenes with Shraddha Kapoor, where he's kind of expressing, I think there's an earnestness to
Yes, I
him
agree.
that could carry him, even though, and I think, like, for example, if he did some of those like cute romantic songs, like where you're behind a tree and like la la la, with like the heroine in a chiffon saree, I think he could do that well, as long as you know that it's meant to be like a fantasy
So what
sequence
did
where
you
it's
think
supposed
of
to be cute.
because he does that in Street,
Yes.
remember, and that was like goofy, but he's goofy
Yeah.
So it's kind of okay.
But
I
I
don't
think he
remember
could
what we
do
said about
something
it.
like that well. Like I think he could do like a romantic movie well as well. Like I loved Ayushmann Khurrana in Dum Laga Ke Haisha.
Yeah,
And remember where they have that song
yeah,
that Tumse Mile, whatever the choreographed number that they do,
yeah.
which is very like 90s. I mean, I feel like Rajkumar could do that too. So I feel like there's a lot this man can do. He's very talented. He's very versatile. I think just if you've decided you're going to turn producer, then I think you need to bring the heavy guns out and get like a really good script, a really good director. And I think that he can do something good in the future.
I was thinking about how this movie really, like, when I was asking myself, what was this movie about actually? And one of the things I came up with was cowardice in a way, because he's such like a little wimp weasel.
Weasel.
And that's an interesting thing to take on. And this didn't really go anywhere with that as far as I could discern. But like I can also see him being good at being a weasel. Well, we know he's a good weasel in
He
Clean,
is.
for example. But I think you could make a whole movie about him being a weaselly character. And maybe he's made that and we just haven't seen it because he has made
Mm.
a lot more films than I have seen, for example. But yeah. I can also see him being the cop in something like Sacred Games.
Yeah. Or like Black Warrant, in which I
Mm,
absolutely loved Zahan Kapoor. He was so
right.
amazing in Black Warrant. He could do something like that too. There's actually a lot he could do. So I think the only thing Rajkumar Rao cannot do is the very like glossy
Yeah.
romances that the Ranveers and the Ranveer Singhs can do because he's not like that category of hero.
For some reason, I also do not see him being in something set before about 1960. So I don't see him as a
Oh,
Mughal, for example.
no.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't track. I don't know why, but that doesn't seem right to me.
He could be an accountant in the Mughal court, though.
I guess. But can you imagine him in the historical clothing? I cannot.
No. But I mean, I feel like he could play like a good freedom fighter.
He can be a freedom fighter. I will accept that. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Like
fine.
I can
That
totally
actually could be
imagine
really
him.
great.
Yeah, I can imagine him in like white, like marching and stuff, like the
Yes, that's true.
satyagraha and
Okay, so
everything.
before like 1920, we can't. I don't want
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Do you know, despite my Shah Rukh completism, I still have not completed Hiram.
Oh, maybe we need to
I
assign
just
it to
haven't.
ourselves.
Oh, good Lord. I'm so worried.
I
It's
said
going to be so
maybe. We
terrible.
don't. Well, clearly I should not come up with an idea to do because although burning, well, you wanted to do Burning Train. I was watching it anyway, but and you know, so yeah, maybe don't come to me for the next couple months.
We're on
Enjoy
that
our
timeout.
podcast.
Watch, I'll have like a really bad suggestion and then we'll be even. Okay, I think that concludes this episode. If you guys have seen Toaster, it's on Netflix right now. Let us know what you thought about it. Also, if you want to have like a larger conversation about Rajkumar Rao, then please tell us what your thoughts are. And let's like brainstorm some ideas for Rajkumar Rao. Not that he knows we exist, not that he cares about our opinion, and not that he's
He knows
asking
I
us.
exist because I've met him. I've talked with him
Where have you met him?
at Sunny Super Sound when Chrissy Teigen
Nice.
saved Greta from the bathroom. So
The they'll
that's the
strike
only time I've
again.
ever met anybody. So other than when Amrita and I forced ourselves on Shashi Kapoor. So yeah, no, I had a very brief conversation with him and it would have gone longer except someone else like grabbed him and took him away for filming
Mm.
purposes, I guess. But yeah, I was talking him with him about Ray films.
Nice.
So he for a moment he knew I existed anyway.
Right, right.
10 years ago.
Okay, well, Rajkumar Rao, if you do know that we exist and if you care about the fact that we have like opinions on your career, then you can also chime in and tell us what you have planned. Yeah, like
Because our advice is
we,
not this. Lots of other things, just not this.
yeah.
Helpful. Specific.
All right, and then tell us which Rajkumar Rao movies you really like and you think we should watch, and then we'll try to catch those as well. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.